On the World Economic Forum on Africa, which has just concluded, of course, in Cape Town. There's another conference now, and it's called the SWIFT African Regional Conference. And it says here that this conference is increasingly recognised as a leading forum for addressing current challenges faced by the African continent. On the line now from Gaborone, Botswana, is Nerina Fissa, Head of Beta Solutions at Nedbank Capital. And Nerina has been part of the opening plenary session. But before that, Nerina, set the scene. What is SWIFT?
Hi, Lindsay. SWIFT is, they're sort of the guys in the background that just make sure that everything happens the way that it should happen. SWIFT really your interbank payment system, settlement system, and as one of the conference delegates said to me this morning, it's amazing to hear capital markets, financial transactions being talked about, and everybody just assuming that the payment and the settlement will happen in the background and everything will go well. And I think that is testament to the success of SWIFT, celebrating their 40th anniversary this year, and this particular conference, the African Regional Conference, celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. So certainly nothing new, and quite impressive. The first conference, they told us this morning, already had over 100 delegates, and today at the conference, a three-day conference, they've got over 400 delegates from 40 countries represented here in Gaborone.
Very good. The opening plenary session has just concluded. You were part of that, and I'll just read you the description of that session. It says a high-level panel will discuss current economic and policy developments for Africa. Where are the opportunities for growth and barriers to cross-border trade? How important is the Africa-Asia trade corridor, and is this still just natural resources out and cheap Asian imports in, etc.? How did it go?
Well, I'm actually quite happy to report, Lindsay, that I think where maybe before the conference they thought that the focus would be very much on, this east-west corridor and the Africa-Asia corridor and so on. But after the plenary session, the focus has shifted very much to in Africa, for Africa. And that it's very much about, there is so much more that we as Africans can do in Africa for ourselves before we even start looking at what we need or require from, both investment aid and infrastructural development spend from foreign investors into Africa. So looking at sort of the current reality, the theme of the conference being that momentum is the kind of current reality, or how do we maintain that momentum? A lot of talk around infrastructural development, but obviously not just bricks and mortar type infrastructural development, but very much also related to financial market infrastructural development. And clearly this is where SWIFT plays such an important role. And they have several work sessions scheduled during the three-day conference. There's quite a large SADC regionalization project on the go where they are implementing improved settlement systems within the SADC region. And there are further initiatives of this nature across the African continent, one in East Africa, one in West Africa as well. So Africa really coming together and starting to do things for ourselves. Interesting also the role of technology, not just in the financial payment system, but also a lot of talk around mobile telephony. And with Africa having really leapfrogged sort of over the fixed line communication system, the extent to which mobile telephony is increasingly being used in really bringing this high level of unbanked Africans to the financial market. So financial inclusion, very strong theme also coming through at the conference. Some of the statistics that was quoted by the Honourable Kenneth Matambu, the Minister of Finance and Development Planning at the Republic of Botswana. He did the official opening this morning. One of the things that he referenced was the fact that less than 25% of African women are actually banked. And obviously we know even less so are actually involved in the investment market. So huge challenges, but also incredible opportunities.
I was speaking to Shamil Jusuf, the CEO of Vodacom, yesterday, and one of the two things that he's the most excited about for the future of mobile telephony in Africa is the ability to embrace financial services. He was talking about M-Pesa in Tanzania, which has been so successful, and he wants to roll that out in other countries as well. I was also talking to somebody from the Nigerian Securities Exchange Commission about inter-regional cooperation within financial markets. It's all very well talking about ports and railways and aircraft, etc., but we also have to have financial infrastructure development, and it seems to me that that's been recognised.
Absolutely, and that is very much not just the theme of this conference, but real actual workshops and projects that are being implemented as we speak. So very exciting, very encouraging, and one of the analogies that we discussed during the opening plenary this morning is that when you look at the physical infrastructure in Africa, if you look at the railroads, for example, it is so clear that the development of the rail system in Africa was very much geared towards exports of raw materials out of Africa to the rest of the world. And we have the opportunity here to ensure that when we look at technological infrastructure and financial market infrastructure, that we don't repeat that same mistake, and that we ensure that there is intra-continent connectivity and ability to not just do payments and settlement, but also, things like cell phone roaming costs, for example, and different cell phone networks talking to one another. And I think Africa is turning into a shining example for the rest of the world. If I think in the United States, where one often can't even move from one state to the next without having to cross into another cell phone network with a different sort of set of technological standards. So Africa not just talking the talk here, but very much actually implementing this, and SWIFT clearly leading the way in terms of integrating, certainly on a regional level, many of the financial and technological infrastructure that is required for the successful functioning of the financial and capital markets in Africa.
Very good. So the optimism that was very much evident at the World Economic Forum on Africa in Cape Town has transferred itself to Botswana. Very briefly, Nerina.
Most definitely, and there was a lot of reference being made to the World Economic Forum as well. So very much lessons taken from there and now being put into practice here in Botswana.